God, I'm seeing double vision.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Haunting the Afterlife Radio. I am your host, Susie, and with me is my fellow fabulous host, Brian. How are you, Brian?
I am doing absolutely wonderful. And I would like to say right off the bat, happy birthday, Susie. You're having a very special day. And I really love our guest tonight. He's such a wonderful individual. I can't wait to get to talk to him.
Me too. We've had him on twice before, and he is a very good friend of ours, and he's absolutely amazing. And thank you for the birthday wishes. I am absolutely happy to be spending my birthday with all of you guys. So, anyways, so everyone, tonight we present the renowned Nick Humphries, international medium, physical trance medium / healer, and paranormal investigator. He has a very special show planned for you. He will not only be discussing his abilities and paranormal investigations and evidence, but will also be performing complimentary tree readings for those who submitted. This is going to be one spectacular show, and I'm very excited. But before we get started and introduce you to the amazing Nick Humphries, a few things really quick. As most of you already know, please, if you have any questions for Nick or for the host, please try and remember to put those in caps so that way we can see them. They stand out. Feel free to be interactive in chat. Ask Nick whatever he wants, and us hosts, and be interactive with the other chatters and whatnot. And also, like always, we'll be having our 5-minute break at the top of the hour. So that's about it. And without further delay, I'm going to hand the mic over to Mr. Nick Humphries. Hi, Nick.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
We are awesome. How are you? Probably tired.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's 2 a.m. here in the UK, but hey, happy birthday, yeah?
Thank
So,
you.
it's just great to be back on the show with you guys. I love you to bits. I think you're great.
Oh, we love you too. And we're so excited to introduce some of our new followers to you.
Yeah.
So how do you want to start the show? I kind of want to introduce you first to our new followers, kind of start off with maybe a little bit about you, how you found out about all of your abilities, maybe as a child or whatnot, and then kind of talk a little bit about your abilities, because I don't think everybody knows exactly what a medium is, or physical trance medium, things like that. So
It's a bit of a story. For me, really, it started. My memory is of 3 years old. We had a bit of a trauma going on within the family, and when I go to bed, I kept on seeing a man that I knew had nothing to do with the family, but he would stand at the end of the bed. I didn't recognize him as one of my relatives, and that guy is still with me to this very day. Stands over my shoulder, makes sure that everything is okay. But it was when I was growing up, when I was like 4, 5, 6, talking to my sisters in my very early teens, stories started to creep out from the woodwork, basically, about how it wasn't just when I was 3 years old, it was when I was a little bit younger, and also one of my sisters was picked up by a spirit in a house that we lived in because it was haunted. So it's kind of been with us, or with me, since very, very early on. But I had to, I think we always have to go through a process of trying to understand what it is we have and what we do and how it's going to interact with us in our life. I believe that we all can do what I do. Just that sometimes we need to switch things on again because we get conditioned by our upbringing, by our adults that are around us that teach us, the wrongs and rights, and don't be so silly. There's no such thing as spirit or that sort of thing. It's all conditioning. But for some reason, because of me, the way that I was going through things, it just stayed with me, and I still had to learn how to deal with it, how to develop it a bit more, and understand how I was actually going to be working with it or what I was going to be doing. So it's I love it. I think it's great. It's not all been easy. No. I mean, you mentioned the trance mediumship. That one of my very first tutors said to me, "You have a really lovely energy for trance mediumship," and I didn't know what that was. So I said, "Well, what's that? Explain to me what that is, and I'll think about it." He said, "Oh, it's like spirit jump in your body and possess you," and I'm like, "Well, I ain't doing that. I don't want that to happen." But when it's, I think it's maybe the way that it was put across to me, and it was actually during a healing. In one of the groups that I was part of, at the end of the group, we'd all share some healing, we'd give some healing. But every time I'd close my eyes and do the healing and come back, I'd open my eyes and look around the room. All the women and the men are looking at me going, who the hell's that? So it was like, what are you on about? And there's a man that keeps showing himself to us and talking to us while you're doing healing. I'm like, I have no idea what you mean. And that's part of the trance position of it all. So again, it's a learning curve. You have to learn about the person that's doing the healing with you, why they're coming forward in that manner. You have to have some sort of training with it as well. And it's an elegant but yet powerful way of doing trance mediumship or the mediumship side of it. So yes, I've got Dr. John, who's the healer guide that comes through. I have other guys that come through to give philosophy or talks or readings, that sort of thing. So you have to have a balance, but you also have to do it very, very safely as well. So trance mediumship can be quite dangerous.
Now, I know that I've seen you do it before because I've seen one of your Facebook, I believe it was a Facebook video. This was like about a year ago or a year and a half ago. And I remember, I believe it was like a native who came through. Right. And do you have other videos like that on your Facebook page or on your website where people can actually go and see this going on?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of videos of me on YouTube. There's a couple of videos on my Facebook page, international page. And I believe there's some on my website. I try and keep it all across the board. I'm going to be doing some new updated versions. So they'll be coming off when I've got the updated version. So it's like, guides with updated information or demonstrations that I'm doing. So I'm going to Norway next week. So I'm going to be doing a live demonstration on Facebook Live with that as well. So that'd be quite good.
Nice, awesome, and congrats on finally getting back to Norway. By the way.
Yay! Can't wait.
I know that kind of like Norway to you is like Santa Cruz to me. It's like your baby. So it's like home away from home, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a wonderful country.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm putting your links right now into the chat room so that way people can see this going on, because it's really cool. When I saw you doing this trancing, it was kind of amazing how it's kind of like your body and then your face kind of changed.
Yeah, and that's the physical side of it. So you've got to remember that there's different styles of mediumship or trance mediumship. So the very basic part of it would be channeling. So this is where a person sits in a meditated state, hears the word from spirit, and then talks that word. So that's channeling. There's the next stage of that is part physical channeling. So it's like they change your vocal cords. So it's actually spirit's voice talking through you. So that's good. The next part is where they physically change the muscle structure and your bone structure in your face. So you become them in a visual way. So you can see that. A lot of people, it's moving away from the old-fashioned times where you have to use a red light to see the detail. In a physical manner, you don't have to. So it's like sometimes you have to go a bit cross-eyed with the red light scenario, dark room, red light. But with the physical mediumship that I do, especially when Two Hawks comes forward, you know he's there, his voice is there, my look is different. There's a bit of a story about that as well, because my dad never really understood what I did or what I do. And I was was having a bit of a family do with some extra friends around, and my sisters love what I do, and they wanted to speak to Two Hawks. They'd met him before, but my dad hadn't, and he was still questionable because obviously I'd given up a high-paid job to do or follow my passion, follow my dream of doing this, and I basically sat in it's a conservatory, sat there, allowed Two Hawks to come through, give messages to family members. It wasn't until afterwards that my dad he had this face of like, what the heck, what, and I had to go over to him and said, are you okay? Because I'm, you haven't spoken to me. I just want to make sure you're okay. He said, yeah, I'm okay, but I want to know who that was in the conservatory, because that was not you. I said, explain to me, what did you see? He said, I saw an old Native American man sitting in the chair, and that was not your voice. I don't know who it is, but whatever you do, keep doing it. So from that point, my dad gave me kind of like his blessing to say, I love what you do, I see what you're doing, and I can see where it's taking you. So it was a real massive turning point for me in my spiritual career. So, but yeah, it's a great thing to see. I'd be happy, to maybe not this show, but to come on your show and do a trance demonstration on your show. So I'd have to sleep during the day and then come on, and obviously I'll be refreshed. So I've had a busy day.
Oh my God, I would love that. Brian, what do you think
Yeah,
about
that sounds wonderful. We do have a couple of comments. Jody said, "Hi Nick, I would love you to give me a read." So, Jody, if you look out at Nick's Facebook page, you can get in contact with him and see about getting a read, or if he does, or if he's interested in tonight to do it, we'll talk to him about it. Jeffrey Boyd, do you know James Randi? And if so, your thoughts of him?
You know, James Randi rings a bell. I don't know him, but so I can't really comment. But the name rings a bell. There's so many of us out there that we kind of hear little snippets about. Oh, have you heard about that person? Have you heard about that person? So I think we kind of know of each other, but we've never met and never seen each other work. So I have no comment, unfortunately. So,
Okay. I hope that was good for you there, Jeffrey.
can I just go back to the idea with Jody? Obviously, if we
Sure.
can't tonight, I do a lot of readings over Skype or Facebook Live, or even what is it called, WhatsApp? If you have WhatsApp, I have a lot of clients do it that way. So just trying to give you an idea that this is universal. We can do it in any manner or what platform we've got. So it's not a problem.
Awesome. So yeah, get in touch with Nick. You will not be disappointed, as you will see later when we do the tree readings. Oh, so excited.
I need to explain at some point about the tree readings and how that came about, because the true essence of a tree reading is when I have a client on a one-to-one basis, the tree reading is the first part of a reading. So it gives me an understanding about the person, and then we move to things like mediumship and cards. We're not going to do those last two elements of it. So the tree reading it may come across as basic, but actually it depends on the information within the tree. It can be quite diverse. It can be quite deep as well. So I'll try and extract as much as I can out of it.
Well, we really appreciate you doing that for the show. I'm really excited because you did one for me like a year and a half ago or whatever it was, and I was so impressed. It was amazing, and it literally took me like 1 minute to drop a tree, and he was able to pull so much from that little drawing I did. And Brian, you had one too.
Yeah, and Nick, you were spot on when you did my tree reading, and yeah, I was completely blown away. And that was the second time I actually really sat down and talked with you. And you're such an amazing man and everything. And I knew a couple of the individuals that you did tree readings on that night also, and you had them spot on also.
Oh, thank you for that feedback. It's great to hear. It really is. But you know, the tree readings.
And I think the first time.
Go
ahead.
No, you carry on.
I said, I believe the first time that we ever met and had you on the show, prior to the show beginning, you asked me who the individual was standing behind me. And there was no one standing behind me at that time. And you gave me a full description of them. And yeah, I couldn't find anything out about it, but yeah, it's quite interesting. And since then, I've had other things going around the house that kind of catch out of the corner of my eyes and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of opened me up to possibly having things here in the house.
Wow. Yeah, well, I do you know what? I can't remember that. But do you know the tree reading actually came about me by purely by accident. back in, God, when was it? 90, must be about 1990, roughly, give or take. I was on my way to Inverness in Scotland to do a Mind Body Spirit Fair, and it was my very first time in public. I did readings for people like family, friends, and so on a really, really low key sort of thing, because I was still practicing. I was still trying to, understand why I was doing this and stuff like that. But I was invited to go and do this Mind Body Spirit Fair, and I went up there. I was in the back of a car traveling up there that kept breaking down, and my friend just said to me, what have you brought with you? You haven't brought anything with you. You haven't got cards. You haven't got anything like that." And I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And he's like, you booked a table. What are you going to do? People can just sit in front of your table and what? And I was like, oh, so they said, people want to see something visual. They want to see cards. They want to see that you're doing something. Because back then, in that sort of time, even though it's like nearly 30 years ago, so they didn't want to. The way that we linked to spirit was completely different back then. It's hard to explain. I like to talk out loud and as if I'm having a whole conversation with this spirit, but I had to have something on the table. I was like, I don't know. So all the way up to Scotland, which is about a 7 hour drive, I kept on seeing these trees just appear, and I was like, I don't know what the meaning is here. And I just said, oh, do you know what? I'm going to get people to draw trees, and I'll see what happens. And it was from that moment on. I've never looked back with that. So I'm writing a book about it. So about how you read a tree, so people can learn how to do it. But it changes all the time. So every client is different, and every time a client draws a tree, I see something new, and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to put that in. So it kind of like delays the book a little bit more. So I'm going to have to get to a point where I'll go, okay, there's going to have to be a book 2. So. So yeah, it's by accident, so it's good.
We do have a question in chat. This comes from Blues Player. Nick, do you have any adverse physical reactions as you are doing these readings?
Not with cards or with the tree. When I'm dealing with spirits, it sounds really rude, but I might get a bit of wind, so I might have to exhale, like have a bit of a burp. But yeah, that's when I'm doing the trance. The trance is a real high energy element to it. So I will feel great while I'm doing it, and I will feel great afterwards because spirit will give me loads of energy for my physical body. So afterwards, I'll be great. I feel great. Within an hour, you'll see that I'll have to go and sit down, and I'll probably have to have a can of Coke or something sweet like chocolate or something like that, because the energy just disappears. So it's like also like if I know that I've got a cold or I'm not feeling very well, while I'm doing the trance, it disperses, it goes. But as soon as they leave and any energy comes back, I'm back to where I was. So I have a snotty nose, or I'm a bit cold. So that's the only adverse reactions that I get.
So it's kind of similar to being an investigator when you go to a location that's draining, or you have a spirit maybe try to attach to you, similar to that kind of feeling.
Yeah, it's rule 101, isn't it? So, when you go on an investigation, the first rule or first tool that we're going to use is you, because, you've got to take notice of your own senses. So in fact, when I teach people mediumship and they sit down, I'm saying, do you know, you're missing about 90% of the information because you're sitting down. So you need to walk around, because if you're sitting down, you don't know if that person had 1 leg, 2 legs, or had, the way that they stood, their stance could be different. It could be, you might walk around differently. You might hold your hands differently to how you do sitting down. So, and that person, that spirit is trying to give you that information. So you can say to your client, do you understand why I'm standing like this, or why I'm feeling as if I've got no legs, or I feel like I'm waist up to my chest in water or something like that. So you miss quite a lot sitting down. Stand up, walk around, see what happens. But yeah, paranormal investigation is a key element.
Interesting. We have another question for you from Tina. Do you have to ground yourself often?
I sleep a lot. Do I ground myself a lot? Yes, you have to. I don't meditate half as much as I do, if at all. I just don't have the time. But I do sit down and I will go barefooted. So I'll put my feet on the floor. I will ground myself that way. I may close my eyes for a few moments and just take a few deep breaths to get myself in that groundedness. So yeah, you do. You've got to be really careful, no matter what you do spiritually.
Mhm.
So
Jen has a question as well. Do you find you have to sleep for a whole day after doing readings? I always do.
I don't get a chance. So do you know, I was saying this to a friend. I went out with a friend today, and I was saying, do you know, I could be busy every day of the week if I wish to, but I choose to have the Sunday off and a day off in a week, purely just to recoup the energy that I've lost. So um, you, I don't have time to sleep during the day. I've got an 8-year-old that I have to go and collect from school. So it's normal day life. That sort of thing. I've got to get dinner ready. I've got to make sure she goes to bed, and then my wife will come home from work. That sort of thing. So no, I don't. I wish I could, but I sleep. Dare I say it, I do go to bed late, and I do get up a little bit later. So just don't get time.
Yeah, I definitely feel you there.
But it's just normality of life, isn't it? Modern day life. You've got loads of other things that we need to get on with, running around for children, stuff like that. You've got to fit it all in place. You've got to have a balance.
Yeah, and you're a very busy person, so I can't even imagine how you do everything. But well, let's get into, because we don't have any more questions right now. Let's get into the paranormal investigative side of you, because I know that we're excited to play some of your evidence. And then after break, we're going to get to your tree ratings. Is that still how you want to do it, Nick?
I will follow your lead. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. All right, guys. So I hope that's okay with all of you chatters. We're going to go ahead. He's got some phenomenal evidence. He's got some audio and then some video as well. So we're going to get into that first. And then after our 5-minute break, we will get into the tree ratings. So how do you want to start, Brian? Which one do you want to start with?
Well, let's go ahead and to get the listeners and the chatters, how did you get into the paranormal and developing your own team and some of the locations that you have been to?
Okay, good question. Do you know, my first attempt of a paranormal investigation was when I was 18. In a cemetery, I was drunk, and we just pulled out a Ouija board, put it on a tomb, and we just wanted to see what happened. And we walked around the graveyard. Nothing happened. So I kind of got really interested in that. This is going way back. So I'm talking like the late 80s. So, but the locations are places that I kind of get attracted to. So it's like I walk past the building, and because I can see things that the normal person can't see, I'll go, that's haunted. I need to get in there. And if it's derelict, back then I would just go in there and see what happens. I didn't have all the equipment that we have these days. The sensors weren't around. We didn't have the night vision cameras, that sort of stuff. They weren't as free as what we have. So it was back to basics. It would be, let's do the experiments. Let's call out. Let's see what happens. But eventually, you get to a point where you have to have a team of people if you're going to do public events, that sort of thing. The team that I'm with now, I've been with for about 8 years. United by Spirit. Dave and Tristan, they were the founders, real founders of them, and I was invited in, and then I've now become one of the co-owners. They're a great bunch. They take everything so seriously. Yes, we have a bit of a laugh as well. You got to have fun. But we do any location that we can get into. Ones that primarily try and find the locations that have never been done. Whether it be derelict, if it's derelict, we try and find the owner, or we try and get permission to go in because we don't want to break the rules. And we do the public events as well, which we love. I say we do love, we think it's great, but we also do a lot of stuff just for the team. So we can gather the hard evidence. We don't have to have all the equipment. We don't have to have everything placed around. And when I say equipment or stuff placed around, it means like we have static night vision cameras. We have the sensors, the door sensors, the light sensors, all these other sensors that we have. We don't have to have those. We just literally go on our own and see what we can get. We write everything down, and then we either talk to the owner or the historian or something like that to see if they can find out the information that we've received. So we've been doing it for quite a while. So I've been doing it for, as I say, well, nearly over 30 years. So it's just fun. For me, it's a massive hobby, and I think there's so many people out there now that do it. I don't think you can call it a business. It has to be called a hobby. So yes, do you know we do public events too? There are places in the UK that cost over £1,000 to hire for the hour or for the night. So we have to try and recoup that money in some way because we're paying for this out of our own pocket. It's not for profit. It's literally whatever we earn from that event, we put back in the pot to pay for that place in the first place. So it's like, it's just a vicious circle, really. But we love it, absolutely love it, and we wouldn't stop doing it, and we're not going to stop doing it.
That's good. I know that you've been to some really wonderful places, and you do have all your evidence out there. Well, a lot of your findings. We're going to get away from evidence. Your findings out there on your website. So
yeah.
You can go out and take a look, see a lot of his videos and EVPs. And speaking of videos and stuff, we actually have a couple that you shared with us that we're going to go ahead and share.
Yep.
Do we want to, before we do that, do we want to address the question in chat first?
Sure.
Jeffrey Boyd, he says, may I ask what qualifies one to be a psychic? Are you born with psychic ability or do you acquire it over time? Is there a test or organization that certifies psychics as bona fide professionals?
Okay, really, really good question. Okay, right. I'm going to take this from the bottom first. Okay, there's no real certificate that can bona fide you to be a professional psychic or medium. Okay, there's not an organization on the planet that does that. You, by all means, there are places that will give you a certificate for a course that you've done, but it doesn't mean that you're bona fide. It just means that you've been to a course. This is my belief. Okay, I believe that we are all born a medium or psychic. We are all born with an ability of some sort, whether it's either healing, seeing, sensing in whatever form, be clairaudient, clairsentient, anything like that. We're all born with that. But like I said before, sadly, during our childhoods, we are conditioned in a way by our parentage to, not necessarily believe in it. My daughter runs around going, she's got an imaginary friend. We know it's not imaginary because I've seen it. So I'm a bit clued up on that one. But 9 times out of 10, it's not an imaginary friend. They are actually communicating or talking to someone. So, but through conditioning, we get that switch turned off. So you can then go to somebody like myself that can teach you how to switch it back on. Do you know? And it's not difficult. People will pay hundreds and hundreds of pounds or dollars to go and to be in a group or a workshop where they're going to learn aspects of it. Yes, there are so many different aspects to it, but for someone to actually just be able to link to a spirit and communicate in a way safely, you can do it within 15-20 minutes. Some will take longer because they may be not so open to it, or open-minded to it, and some will take less. I've had a student within here doing one of my workshops, and within the first 5 minutes, I've got them talking or describing the spirit that they're physically seeing or seeing in their mind. So we're all able to do it. It's whether or not you're willing to allow your awareness to open and be broadened and to be helped or nurtured. Sorry, it's 2. So it's always 1:30 here. So, so going back to it, there's again, I would love there to be an absolute magnifying certificate where people like myself can be tested. We can prove then that we are legit, because there are so many people out there that just think they are and they're not. And I hear some horrific stories or things that people have said to people, and they shouldn't. There's an etiquette to it, which is why you need to go to a group or I call them masters or teacher, where they would teach you the etiquette of the right way and the wrong way of dealing with the spirit and how you pass that message on. So, I've seen people come to me in fear, absolute fear that they're going to get bad news because they were given bad news before that never happened. We don't get bad news. We get guidance on things that may be difficult around that person, but not bad news. So there you go. Hope I've addressed that question for you.
I think that was an awesome answer, personally.
Yeah.
When it comes to things like this, I really want to like bring it home. I want to punch it into people's minds that we're not here to mess around. I don't pull any punches. I give it as I say it and as I see it. But I don't lie. I don't make things up. People really, what winds me up is people are so apt on getting names and stuff like that. It may not be the most crucial part of the evidence that you need. It's other stuff that will come forward or whatever they got in that time limit. Because spirit can only spend about 20 minutes in our environment and then they have to go back. So we can extend it by offering part of our own energy, but that weakens us then, and the communication weakens. So, but yeah, I think it's a great question.
What do you feel about the self-hypnosis videos out on YouTube on developing your psychic abilities, clearing your chakras, aligning your chakras? How do you feel about those? And would you say to someone, sure, go ahead and try it?
Yeah, do you know what I would say? Yeah, do you know, especially the cleansing of the chakras, stuff like that. I think go ahead and try it. What I'm kind of on the fence with is where people try to learn mediumship by a book or by a CD, or something that they find on YouTube, because it's not something that you can do alone. You need other people to be around you to give the energy and also the clarification, because how do you know, if you're doing something by listening to something on YouTube or hypnotized or anything like that? How do you know if the information you get is correct? You need somebody there to go, yeah, I actually understand that. Or you need a teacher to go, well, do you know what? Let's try it a different way because it may not be working right for you. Let's get that signal strength a little bit better. And you're not going to get that from a CD. You're going to get that from a teacher, somebody that's lived their life along the path for a long, long time. Do you know, I had so many different teachers. There were groups that I was kicked out of because I think maybe jealousy, because the information I was given was okay or better. But I had so many teachers on purpose because I wanted to know every aspect of what I was dealing with and how other people, because we all teach differently. And so I got different teachings. I've got different ways of understanding it all. So that I know now when I'm doing a reading, I give my all, my absolute best to every client that walks through my door. So, and that's what I would say. Find a group that you can trust and you feel part of, feel like a family, and they will teach you everything you need to know. And then you'll go, do you know what? I don't think there's anything more you can teach me, and you'll go to somebody else.
Right.
If you go to a teacher and they keep holding you back, saying, I think you just need to stay with me a bit longer. You've got to remember, if you're paying for that person or that time to be there, maybe there's a little bit, well, I'm going to lose that bit of money. Do you know, I have students come to me and go, I'm going to leave the class because I can't afford it anymore. And I'm like, doesn't matter. Just come to the group. The money doesn't matter. It's not a problem. So just bring a bag of crisps so we can all share a crisp, while we're talking about it and having a cup of tea. So just get taught by somebody, not a CD.
Right. Okay.
I apologize.
Oh no, that's
awesome.
that's quite nice, because I wanted to, or I'm still in the looking for a teacher that can help me with my spirit guide, and how to open myself up to become more, well, more open to the spirits and stuff. I think over the years I've kind of become hardened and jaded, and I want to get back to being able to enjoy doing the paranormal and be able to add a little bit more to that.
Okay. Do you know the people's worst enemy? Okay, is their own fear. Okay, so when you yeah, fear is the right word. When you start to kind of not believe in the information you're getting or the signs that you're getting or the things that you're seeing in your peripheral vision, if you start to distrust actually that spirit, then it's not going to it will fade away. It won't be as strong as it should be. But as soon, I always say to people that if you strongly believe that you're getting a message or you've seen something, then you strongly believe that because it probably is 9 times out of 10 spirit trying to communicate in some fashion. You should also really, dare I say it, but you should also meditate a little bit. Doesn't have to be for hours on end. Just meditate a little bit because it helps you focus your mind a little bit. I think also the other real crucial point is people need to kind of learn where their inner voice is from, because we've all got an inner voice. We need to start to trust that as well. And that's the other element. I think that's probably the word I was trying to look for before, was the trust. We don't trust what we're getting. So when you learn your inner voice, you know what your voice sounds like. You know where in the body it comes from, because it doesn't always come from the head. It can come from the body as well. And then when you start to communicate with spirit, you'll notice actually the voice is coming from a different area to where it normally comes from. So that's one of the first lessons that I teach. I get people to sit down and think of a word so they can concentrate on their inner voice, and then we talk about then spirit. If you're getting the whistles in your ear like an old radio and an old wireless doing that weird funky noise, that's spirit trying to get your vibration. They're attuning you to their vibration so they can start communicating. You might start dreaming more, that sort of stuff. So meditate, ask them to come forward, communicate that way, expand your aura as well. Do that.
Yeah, that's one thing I've been trying to do. I moved away from Reno and the team, and I'm down in Corpus Christi now, and I haven't really done any paranormal investigations in about 3 years now. And I think it's like the old thing: if you don't continuously use it, it tends to kind of fade away. And I think that's kind of what's happened right now with me. And I want to get back into it. And not only that, is get more spiritual guidance in my life.
Don't ever think that, when I say it fades away, it will never leave you. It will just never leave you. Okay, it will always be there. It's embedded. But what will happen is that spirit may see that actually, you may be going through a scenario or situation where it needs your full focus, your full attention. So they'll just back away for that period of time when, just for however long it is. And when they see it's all over, they'll step forward again and go, right, okay, we're ready now and we're here. Let's pull you into this and let's get you working. So, but you've got to show willing. So as much as you show that you're willing, they'll show you that they're going to give. So it's a 50-50 relationship, and you've got to really trust, absolutely trust. I've been doing this years, and even now sometimes I doubt. I'll go, no, that can't be right. That can't be right, and I end up having an argument with the spirit, going, "You can't give me that. That doesn't sound right." And they go, and I'll hold it back, and then the client will go, "Well, actually, he used to do this." And I'm like, "Damn it, I should have said it." So but that's we have a logical head. You've got to have that balance, and you've got to trust them.
I do believe actually on one show that we actually saw you doing this and having that conversation and stuff. And I'm sitting there going, okay, he looks like he's getting a little upset with it, going, okay, no, I can't say this. But yeah, and if I would love to have all the chatters to have seen this and go out to your website and look. And I do believe you have some videos out there of that.
Yeah, somewhere in the archive, somewhere there's some videos. But
and
go on, sorry, carry on.
It's absolutely amazing that's the information that you come up with, and it's all being told to you, and you pull no punches on it.
Do you know, I one of the reasons why I was kicked out of one of the group is because I wouldn't conform to how they wanted me. They wanted to mold me into something that they used to, how it used to be. And I'm like, but I want to talk to them out loud because I'm seeing them as if I'm seeing you. So I want to hold that conversation. They know. So you've got to also put your rules out to spirit. Go, okay, if you're going to come forward, I want to work in this manner. And they'll go, okay, that's fine. But we also want to do this. And you go, yeah, okay, I accept that. So you also lay down your rules. So my rules to them is, if I don't understand it and you don't give it to me clearly enough, I'm gonna have a go at you. I'm not in a horrible sense, but
Right.
They walk through, go, oh, okay, this is the guy that he doesn't hold back or anything, and we've got to be straight. So and if we don't give it straight, he'll have a go at us, but we can have a go back at him as well. And they do, believe me. I get told off. But it's a love relationship. We love working together. I love anybody that comes through. It's for me, it's just fun. And if you don't say something that they in the way that they want to say, even if they curse, if they say a bad word, change it. Say, do you understand them being quite colourful in their language? And they go, oh yeah. And then from there on, you can go, right, she's just said the F word or whatever it is. So she's like, yeah, I understand that. So you've got to give part of that evidence because it's how they were when they were alive. So it's just, it goes back to how if you're walking around, you will take that characteristics as well. So, and can I quickly tell you this story? This is one of the very, very first theatre shows that I did. I had a guy come forward from Spirit. He looked very fit, very trim. He obviously looked like he'd done some sports, and I was trying to get this across to the audience. And I at the time, I didn't quite know where I was going, apart from one area of the auditorium. And I could see this woman and her daughter sitting there, and the daughter was shuffling in her seat and poking her mum with her elbow. And I'm going, sweetheart, do you understand this gentleman? He's this tall. He's got this. He described how he looked. He's really fit, and now he's showing me that he would have done boxing. She kind of didn't want to accept it, but the daughter was like, that's him. So I said, right, look, I need to do something. And I apologise to the whole audience, but this is going to make me look really stupid, as if I'm not stupid already because I'm talking out loud to people you can't see. But this guy is showing me like a weightlifting kind of frame, and he's doing some bench presses with these weights and stuff like that. I said, but then he wants me to go. He kind of gurgled. He shook his head and he gurgled, and it was at that point that she kind of stood up and she went, "Yeah, that's how he died." And I said, "What do you mean?" And the whole audience were laughing at me because I looked really stupid, but the atmosphere just completely dropped. And she went, "Yeah, that's how he died. He was weightlifting, had a heart attack while he was weightlifting, and then he strangled himself to death." So because of the bar and the weights. So, but you have to give that information. Don't hold back. No matter what your teacher says, stand there with your thumbs down the seams of your trousers. That's rubbish. If you want to walk around, you do it. If you want to hop, skip, and jump, you do it. That's what spirit wants to give you. I've walked across stage pretending I'm a girl, even though I'm a man. I've said I don't know why, but I feel like I'm a cross-dresser. That's part of the evidence. So it's just how it is. I love it. This is why I love it. I get really excited by it all.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get into your first video real quick.
Yes. Which one are you showing?
The one with the orange door or the red door.
Okay, I apologize. I look a bit. I've lost weight since that video.
Yes, you have. You definitely have.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of weight since that video. So you're going to show the one, right? Do you want me to explain where this is?
Sure.
Some of the best locations are those that are not public events, okay? And they are not open to the public. This was a private house. It used to be a respite home, and we were given permission to go in there and do an investigation. And we'd set up cameras, night vision cameras, in the afternoon. We'd done the investigation at night and left them running all night into the very early morning. So I think about 11 o'clock. So I think it's about 11 to 12 o'clock that we went back to go and get the cameras. Before we took the cameras off and turned them all off, I started doing a Facebook live session going around the property in the light, because I've done one in the evening in the dark. And then this door happens. It freaked me out at the time. It's pretty amazing. So we basically held this door. We jammed it really hard, so it remained open all night. We were banging the walls. We were running around. This door did not budge until this point. So I thought you were going to show it.
Yeah.
Cool. It's just great.
And that was your team that's there also.
Yep. So you can see I'm actually trying to work out how the hell it opened. You can see one of my colleagues that she's put this board back under the door. You can actually, if you played it again, you can see actually the door handles move down when it shuts. So this room we named the tingling room, because every time we walked in there, we felt this tingling coming all over. And we just didn't feel like we were wanted in that room. So if you think it was an old person's living area, see the door handle goes down?
Wow.
So
that gives me chills.
So it's obviously, because if you think of respite home, old people go to bed very early in the evening, but they get up very early in the morning. So so this is early. This is okay. It's in the afternoon, but the door, there was no explanation as to why that door closed, because we were running around that place like lunatics that night, and it never budged. God, I really have lost weight.
Yeah, you have lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Tina's saying for some reason her question won't post. She tried a few times.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too.
Well, I know, Tina, you were having some issues earlier. Oh, no, that was just because you weren't clicking on the live image.
But yeah, I could watch that all day because it's a great bit of footage.
Yeah, and I remember you showing that to me 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I'd show it again because obviously we've got new listeners, new viewers. So.
What do you guys think about that? Okay, good call, Brian. Yeah, Tina, send it to Brian. Brian's email. Is anyone else having issues?
If ghosts or spirits in fact exist, why all the secrecy or cloak and dagger? Why not just materialize for all the world to see? Right, you need to understand the difference between ghosts and spirit. Okay, so ghosts are memories. They are the fabric of a building will hold memories of a scenario, of people or animals being in that location, or acts that happened in that location. So it's called the stone tape theory. So you can have the same ghost of one particular person in different locations because that building is going to play it back at a certain time of day or year, whatever it is. A spirit is in fact the intelligent energies. What we are, we have a spirit inside. It's called a soul. We leave our body, our physical body. We become the spirit. So we're able then to come forward and communicate in an intelligent manner to EVPs, or move things like the door closing. I don't know, throw stones, whatever we want to do. That's their way of communicating. So why is it a secrecy? There is no secrecy. It's only because people don't believe it's become a secret. It's like ghost hunting. Why does it have to be in the dark? It doesn't necessarily. I've been on locations in the daytime and got more information during the day than we have at night. But at nighttime, your senses are heightened. So you feel more. You might see more. You definitely sense more than you do in the daytime. There's no cloak and dagger about it. It's a case of you believe or you don't, or you're on the fence. So that's what we're trying to find. Spirit can manifest in any form that they want to, so that's why you get poltergeists and stuff like that. So it's quite a deep question. So, but yeah, there's a difference between spirit and ghost, and it really, dare I say, ticks me off when people don't know the difference.
But you know what? I didn't know the difference until you told me like 2 years ago, and I was like, this light came on, and I've never forgotten what you said. Never. And yeah. I think it's an amazing piece of information right there, because I don't think a lot of people know the difference.
If you think of a ghost, okay, if you see a ghost walk through a wall, okay, it's probably 9 times out of 10 that it used to be a doorway that existed at that.
Yeah.
At some point. You know, I've seen legs walking through the floorboards, and that's because the floor levels have changed. So it's just a memory. People report, oh, but he stood in front of me and it was talking to me. Really? Maybe it was just you were there at the right time. You know, it's just, and then it's moved on. Whereas spirit will move around. They can hide. They can do things what they want to do. They can nick your keys and put them in a different room. Whatever they want to do, they will do it. So it's there's no. I don't think there's any cloak and dagger with it. We're just trying to find the answers. We're just trying to prove to those that don't believe that there is life after death and spirit can do things beyond the grave. So, but I love it.
Hey, Brian, did Tina, was she able to email you?
I haven't gotten anything yet.
Okay, well, let's move on to the next. What are we going to play next? Go ahead,
Yeah.
Bryson.
Okay, the next one.
The anticipation. Aha, right. Do you know, this location is just, it's a derelict house. There were I think seven of us on the night. These are friends and a couple of team members. It's an old, it goes back to Cromwellian times, this house. And we had one of the ladies that was with us was an old tenant, and her children, the corridor we're walking down there, the tenant's children called it the corridor of fear, because they hated walking or living there. So what you're seeing here is we're now, I was the person at the very beginning was actually me walking down towards the stairwell, because I was very much drawn down there. I knew there was someone standing there, and I wanted to try and make a connection with them or communicate with that person. And the remainder of them, the team, stood in the very end room. Now, at the time, the team member Christine, who was also in the other video, shouted to me. I had a night vision camera in my hand. Shouted to me in this part of the footage, my camera's gone funny. It's just stopped recording, and now it's taken a photograph, which is the photograph you can see here. And then it goes back into video mode. You can see me walking down there. And in fact, when you listen to it all, when it goes a bit funny, you can hear me say, "There's something standing next to me, but I can't see it." So when you go back to the beginning of that video, in that photograph, you'll see there's me standing there with the glow of the night vision camera, and there's a dark figure standing next to me, which is actually spirit. So right where I said it was, I said I knew it was standing next to me to my right hand side, and I knew it was there, but it wouldn't communicate. It wouldn't show itself. I couldn't see it in my mind's eye. I couldn't, my actual peripheral vision or my natural vision. So it's amazing. We've been back there since, and in fact, the very room at the other end of the corridor, we were sitting there, and there was an old Victorian carousel light going around the room. Now there's no road around there, so there's no cars or anything like that. It's just in the middle. It's like in a field, basically. So there's the figure standing behind me. You can see it. You might want to replay it, but yeah, it's at that point where I'm turning around, takes a photograph. It's there. Susie's really kind of scrutinizing that video. So it's not a reflection. It's not shadow. Or anything like that. We tried everything. We tried to do everything to try and see if we can mimic what we saw on the video or on the photograph, not the video, but on the photograph. So it's right at the beginning of the video as well. So.
Okay, I do have Tina's question.
Okay.
Have you ever come across an inhuman energy during a reading or investigation? If so, as a psychic, how did you deal with it?
Inhuman? Did you say inhuman?
Inhuman, yes.
Yeah, like non-human.
Okay, hang on. Can you see the light of the night vision camera? Then look beyond that. Right. So yes, I have. Not necessarily during a reading. Through healing, yes, I have. And we've kind of just done a cleansing with it. I was on a location not so long ago, actually, where we was in what was the cellar of a pub that used to be a nightclub also. And I was accompanied by another medium as well and a team because I was part of well, not part of a different team. I was being employed that night, and we knew that we had this entity. I'll call it entity. It was humanoid. It had very long limbs. It crawled up the walls and crawled across the ceiling. It was not nice. It would go and stand in front of people and breathe on them really heavily. And we knew, and I knew that it was just something that was not nice and needed to be dealt with. But there's lots of different ways we can deal with this. We can deal with it by being quite harsh, or can you see past that figure to me? So, um, or we can deal with it in a loving aspect. And what I did that night was we made sure we closed down. There were so many portholes that had been opened by other teams and not closed down. So first of all, we had to close down all the portholes that had been opened, but we left one remaining. So, and then what we did was that actually we invited anybody that was connected to this entity from spirit to come forward and help them cross. So, and at first, I mean, it was humanoid, it was demonic, it was horrible, but we knew that there was something where we needed to help. We knew it would go if we could help it. So basically, we had this person come forward from spirit, but he wouldn't want to go. He didn't want to go at first. He was really fearful. He was really scared. He started to be a bit violent as well. And then all of a sudden, he just disappeared, absolutely gone. We were like, where's he gone? Because we need to make sure that he hasn't gone somewhere else. And then all of a sudden, this man appeared in front of me. And it took me aback on camera. You could see me standing back and going, who the hell's this? You know, this is not the same thing. Who are you? And he said, it's me. You've just helped me cross over, go back to my loved ones. And I want to come forward and say, thank you, because I've been trapped here for so long. All I wanted to do is go back because the anger and the horribleness, it all manifested into an evil part of him. So that's why he became that entity. So he became that person, that horrible entity, because that's what people wanted it to be. But he came forward, he embraced, he gave me a hug. He went to the other medium, he gave him a hug as well. Went around a team, gave them all a little bit of a hug, and then disappeared. So, yeah, yes, we've also dealt with really bad stuff where you kind of have to drag it out and deal with it in a different manner. So, you know, and I'm talking like blessings, I'm talking about doing prayers and stuff like that and being really protective. But we just kind of knew there's something not right about this person or the entity in this cellar, and we knew that actually just by showing it a bit of passion and a bit of love, we knew that we could draw it out and help it, and that's what happened.
That is so awesome. You just gave me chills. You know, I have to tell you that this whole show, I've gotten so many chills. And not like any other show before. It's like chills, chills, chills.
Wow.
That is so awesome of you guys to think that way. So many people want to be scared and, you know, not even think about using love to help something that might appear to be negative in some way, you know, and so that's just awesome. Well, guys, we got to go to break. We're going to take a 5-minute break. I know we've got a question in chat from Jeffrey, and we'll address it when we get back. I think, Nick, when we get back, we're going to do the tree readings. Okay. And then when we're done, we'll play the rest of your audio, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I know that Jen and Zoe and Tina are very, very excited for their tree reading, and I want to make sure we get to that. So we'll be back in 5 minutes, you guys. Don't go anywhere.
And welcome back to Haunting the Afterlife and our discussion with Nick and Susie.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I didn't know we were back already.
She's sitting there twiddling her thumbs. So, must be back.
Okay, so yes, we're back. We do have a question to address by Jeffrey, and then we'll get to our trees.
Okay.
So Jeffrey is asking, do you think mainstream science will ever accept psychic ability as a bona fide endeavor or pursuit?
There's no easy way to say this. I don't know. I would hope so eventually at some point, but science and spiritual stuff never kind of gels well. But I have one thing to say about this is that, and it may not be kind of answering your question, but why are people so eager and so open to believe in things like God, but not in stuff like spirit or ghosts? You know, in fact, during the break we were discussing Miracle on 34th Street. At the end of the film, the judge says, you know, in God we trust. So if we can trust in God, somebody or something that we don't know it actually exists, how can we then not trust in spirit? So I don't know. I think it would be great if we could work together and get it to be bona fide and be a pursuit. It's my pursuit anyway. Then great, and you know that would be great. But I don't know. There's no answer to that. I think, you know, I think spiritual mediums and psychics are really open-minded. I think really the scientists are really closed-minded, unfortunately. So there you go. There's my answer.
You make a lot of really good points there, though. And I love how you talk about in God we trust versus in spirit we trust, because I don't think a lot of people understand that or even think about trusting in spirit. I mean, I think, I don't know a whole lot of people who talk about spirit in that respect. So I love that. I need to keep that in mind now when I'm going on investigations, and also because, you know, I'm trying to grow my medium abilities as well. And so I love that you say that. We've got a tree up on the screen.
Yeah.
Should we
say this tree does belong to one of our chatters. I'll just give the first name.
No.
So
I'll just offload what I see.
Okay.
So hang on, I just need to close something because I have another tree up on screen, so I'm going to close that. Right. Okay. It's okay. First and foremost, it's done in pen. Okay. So it doesn't give the full mannerisms of what the tree's about. So, right, we work from the base, like the roots area, then the main structure of the body of the tree, and then the head. So you're going to have to bear with me as I explain this, okay? So the roots that are exposed, there are so many different reasons for any sort of marks that people make or draw onto the drawing, okay, on the tree. So roots exposed means that there is freedom around this person, or they try to be deep-rooted or grounded, but they are also equally quite free or away with it. They just do what they want to do, but in a grounded way. So is there any way we're going to get confirmation of what I'm saying, so I know that we're going to get the flow of it?
Does the owner of this tree want to speak up?
But yeah, the root structure can also indicate family, because obviously we have family ties to family roots, but it's more about how grounded you are as a person. So I would suggest actually this person tries to be as grounded as possible, but there's things going on around them where it's not able to be grounded. They need to keep being free or having to move around a lot, so therefore they're not as grounded as they should be. So then we have to look at the main body of the tree. So the main body of the tree is built up by two main lines, the left-hand line and the right-hand line. Right. These are equally as difficult to read. So the left-hand line is your upbringing from the base of the root up to where it hits the main body, the head of the tree. This is your upbringing line, 0 to 19. And we can see here it's been drawn, but with break lines in it as well. So there's breakages along this area. So this is why I ask people to do it in pencil, because it defines it a bit better. So this actually initially tells me that the support roles that this person had during the upbringing was actually quite fractured. It weren't as strong as it should have been. Maybe they had to do a lot more as a child, or they had to become a very young adult very, very quickly. Um, so that's why we have breakages. So it could be that there are lots of different scenarios going on within the family. It can also be a really emotional element as well. So there's a lot of emotion with it, or it carried a lot of emotion. But what's interesting here is that the opposite line on the right hand side also carries the same traits. So it's got breakages in it. So this is the support role that the person now offers as the adult. So this person actually tries to give as much support as they possibly can. But the question that always comes back with this line, it's not really a question, it's more of a statement, is do they actually get or receive the right amount of support back that they desire or need in life at this time? And I'll be honest, this indicates that they're not. Okay, so they are having to do a lot of the work, a lot of the background work. They are probably the key element to whatever's going on around them. The tree is not going to tell me like names, addresses, dates of birth, or what you do for a living. It's just a simplified version of what's going on. So there's something going on around this person where they are giving their all and not receiving back. The other element of this also is the inside between these two lines. So you've got a lot of lines in between. These are what I call fracture lines or break lines, or frustration lines. So, and it means that actually this person is really quite frustrated with life as it is at the moment. It's a very here and now kind of story, because it's like it's something that is absolutely rock solid now. So if I say recent past, and I would say probably anything from a day, a week, a month, maybe a couple of months or a year, it's that kind of recent. They are still dealing with that emotional effect from it. So I don't know if we're getting any feedback from it, but nobody's commenting. So the head of the tree, is your mentality, it's your emotions, it's also your personality. Okay, so right, so we've got a few branches exposed, and then a lot of it is all wispy lines. So this person is generally a very emotional person. They are normally a person that carries their heart on their sleeve, so people take advantage, but because of the break lines in support role, they're covering it up. So it means that actually they're putting a barrier up. It means that they're actually trying to protect their true emotions. They don't want people to know how they truly feel or what they're truly going through. So it could be a case where they're putting on a brave face or smiley face when they're having a really bad day, or their world's being rocked around inside them. So we have to look at other aspects. The outside, the very outside line of this tree, or the head of the tree, is their personality. Um, okay, yeah, there's another something else that I'll tell you as well. The personality. Do you know what? Um, I generally feel this person's a really caring, warm-hearted person. I think they can be a bit fiery in elements, but I think they are generally a person that would you'd have fun around. You know, you'd have a good laugh. I think they're a good laugh. I think they're quite sensitive, um, but they are also open. So all the lines don't meet. They kind of just they're all open. So it means that actually they leave themselves open to either suggestion or ridicule. So there's something going on around them even then. They think an awful lot as well as this person, okay? So they constantly are on the go. They think on their feet, they think while they sleep. They probably can't sleep that well. But you know, generally, I like the tree. I think it shows a determination. It shows strength. We have to look also at how do I explain it? The very top of the right hand line. So going back to the support role and anything that's around that area. So any cross marks, any gap marks, and there's a gap mark and there's a cross mark. So cross mark means a change of direction. So there's a change of direction around for this person, something they are trying to do or it needs to be done. The gap area around the bottom of that part of the tree, the head of the tree that is, also indicates that there's movement away or a separation of some sort. I'm not saying this is to do a relationship. It could be. Relationships, again, come in different forms, from partner to family to friend to work colleague. So it's a case where there's a separation away from something. The head of the tree is quite more bulbous to the right hand side than it is the left hand side. So mentally, the person's trying to move forward, but actually physically they feel that they can't. Physically and emotionally they can't. Okay, mentally they're trying to go, you know what, I just need to go over there, I need to go and do that, I need to be able to do this and that, but they're actually being restricted. And because the tree sits slightly left of center, so when it's slightly left of center, it means it's of recent event. So there's something going on around where they are dealing with it now. The tree is, I can't see the bottom of the page, but it looks like it's going to touch the top of the page near enough. So it means actually it's restricted. So this person is being restricted by either someone or by something, meaning a situation. So I don't know if that person understands anything about it at all.
What do you think, Tina? How does that sound? I know that she posted, I've been having a hard time with several moves. I've been quite guarded. And she said, humor is my shield. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to say, Tina?
I was able to move the picture up and everything, so.
Okay.
And she just said, restricted by a roommate.
Okay. So I think actually looking back, I mean, looking at it, I think the cross mark is something that you're going to be doing now. It's like there's going to be a change. Normally, I mean, you have got cross marks on the opposite side as well. So it's like there's always been a change around you. It's like you're never really kind of solid. You know, it's like you're not grounded. You're all over the place. And I think that's the story of it at the moment, is that you are all over the place. I think you need to be more grounded. I think you need to make a decision, because that's what the cross mark's there for. The gap means that actually you have already thought about moving or deciding to move. Sweetie, there's also a change of direction with, I don't know if it's like the education or the job that you are pursuing. I think there's a change around that as well. So you kind of need to kind of really sit down, think, but don't overthink it. Don't make, sometimes when you overthink it into a problem when it's not a problem at all. And the only problem is that sometimes you just need to let go. It's not worth it. Just let go. Don't worry about it. Life is there for a lesson. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's wrong, you just get up, pick yourself up, start again, and it'll be much better, because you know the warning signs. But your tree talks massively of that you're on your own. You're self-supported. There's restriction around you. There's change around you. There's upset. There's emotion around you. You feel like you're having to protect yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally all the time. Change it. You're not in the right place. She needs to change it.
She said a few minutes ago, you're spot on. And then while you were talking, she said, I just started a new job.
Okay, well, there you go. Could be it's already happened. So there you
go. Okay, you're going to take Jeffrey's comment, and I'll get the other tree up.
I'm convinced that psychic ability is authentic. However, as an intellectual, I believe that only a very small number of people are truly psychic, perhaps only 2 or 3% of the population.
Okay, that's really making a statement rather than it's a question. So, yeah, it's, as I said before, right at the beginning of the show, I believe that everybody has a psychic or a mediumship ability, whether it's healing or whatever manner. That we are all connected in some way. We have to be, because we've all come from the same energy. So we have to be. It's what we do with it. And, some people go, I'm not interested. Doesn't do anything for me. We get the people that disbelieve it completely. That's their path. That's what they want to believe in. That's great. So.
Oh, and then I forgot, Jody asked a question. She asked, when you got to places, can you bring things home with you? And I just answered her in the chat, and I said yes. You can, things can follow you home.
I think, things can follow you, but it also depends on the team. If the protection's done correctly, I always start with a protection at the beginning, and I also start with a closing down prayer at the end, and we kind of get a cleansing. So it's like we take the residue away, so we don't really take anything away with us. There is a slim chance that it does happen. It does happen. It's happened to me. It happens. But it only happens for a short period, because they go, I'm not in my energy anymore. I'm not in the place that I recognize, and then they kind of go back. So they go back to where they want to. So yeah, there you go.
All right. Yes, look at this tree.
Christ almighty. Are they an
Right?
artist? Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. Do you know, we also have to take into mind with trees, um, their form. So sometimes people will do them in a representation of a tree that we would understand. This looks like a weeping willow. So am I?
Does the owner of this tree want to come forward? I know who it is.
We all know who it is.
Well, before she needs to come forward. Okay, go ahead, Nick.
Okay. I like this tree. It's got great character. Again, do you know, it's really rare that people draw the roots. It's one element that people don't really draw them, because I'm going to say things here that may sound like I'm repeating it from the last tree, okay? But the elements are the same, and it's just how it works. You've drawn roots exposed, but okay, so that kind of means that yes, you are trying to be grounded, but you're a free spirit, that sort of thing. You try to, maybe you're trying to do too much. I think that's probably what I want to get to, because you're all over the place once more. There is slightly different elements here because the tree is quite far over to the right rather than middle or left. Okay, so you are really kind of a person that is directional. So as soon as you get in something into your head, you go for it. You kind of work for it and you go for it, and it kind of works for you. Now, the left-hand line again with the supporting roll, it's really arched, okay? But it's a nice, strong pencil mark. So that means actually the support rolls that you received during your upbringing were actually really strong. However, it also, because of the arch, indicates that it wasn't as always as strong as it should have been. There was maybe it was under pressure. I don't think there was anything dramatic. I think sometimes it was just under pressure. I like it. You have got the symbolic symbols in there of being a bit frustrated because the line's inside. It's the right hand line that bows outwards. Okay, so it's almost like the belly of the tree is pushing forward. So it's like you are. How do I explain it? The tree's a proud tree. It's like I've had. It's almost like someone that's had a difficult time, but proud of the fact that they've actually got through it. It's like, they're holding their head really high. It's an emotional tree because it's a weeping willow. So weeping willows are found by bodies of water like lakes or streams or rivers. So they're emotional. They are water-drawn trees. So you are a very emotional character. But you know what? You're not afraid to hide it. And you think, again, you're a heavy thinker. Your branches are exposed. So everything that you do, you make sure that actually you accomplish everything. However, there's branches here that we can't see the top of. Okay, so there's a couple of branches we can't see the very tops of. We can't see that part of the tree. So that means actually you're quite secretive also. You don't always want people to know your true feelings or how you're working or what you're going to do from one day to the next. You keep a little bit of yourself to yourself, and then you only show a bit of a fraction of to your friends or family, so they only know a little bit. I think you're quite a deep-rooted person, actually, and I think you are secretive. But I love it. I think it's a great tree. It shows actually great determination. But there's something in this tree also. If you go to the right-hand line, your support role, it's nice and dark. It means actually you're very supportive. I do want to, well, I say you're very supportive. I want to say actually you try to be as supportive as you can, and sometimes I don't think it works. Okay, so I don't know if that makes any sense, but I think you are trying to be as supportive. But there's also a new branch that's growing. It's a very small branch at the top of that line. So again, it means actually it's either, how do I say it? The branch has got quite a lot of foliage on it, meaning the leaves or the way that you've drawn it. So it's been an emotional turn of events. It's a new beginning. It's a change, but it could be a happy change, a happy emotions. So it's like a relief of what you're doing. Sweetie, I don't know about this, but there's an element here where there's been heartache also. Okay, and it's like you are trying to deal with that heartache, or you're trying to leave it behind. So I don't know if that makes any sense. It could be recent, it could be long distance in the past. But I love it. It's creative. So you are obviously a very creative person. I think also looking at it, you are, how do I say this? Without sounding rude, okay, I will flower this up a little bit. I think you're actually a really happy person, but I think there's also a dark side to it. So I don't know if that makes any sense. So am I making any sense here, Susie? Does that make any sense?
Well, I know her, so I don't know her I mean, I've known her for about a year. So I know her pretty well.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say a lot of it does make sense to me. She says in chat, a lot of it does, yeah, makes sense. She did mention it's not a willow; it's just resonated with her.
Well, a willow tree an emotional tree. Okay, it's found in graveyards as well. So it's that. The interesting part is if you look at the tree, okay, there's not many branches to the right hand side. There's a lot of branches to the left. Okay, so when people draw a lot of branches to the left, means that actually they have been really busy. So it's like they're always doing things. They're always getting involved in things. There's a lot of things to do with the past. But when you look at the present or moving forward, there's only really two branches. One small, which is the new beginning, or recent changes about it, and the other one we can't see the top of. But there's an element of that looks like something came to a very, very quick end. Okay, I don't know what it is. It could be the emotional part of it, but something came to a very. I'm just looking because I can't see the rest of it, but there's something about it that talks to me that says that something came to a very quick end. Okay, that could be a relationship, it could be a job, it could just be an idea that just didn't work. Just a friendship even just didn't work. It just stopped. So, but then there's this new beginning, a little bit lower down, a lot more emotions around it. So they're still overcoming the emotions of the turn of events or change of events. But I like it. This person's obviously very, very creative.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, really creative. I love it. I think it's great.
She says that she's light and dark. She says, I try to be happy and supportive, but I'm dark in nature as well. And I can also tell you from what I know of her is that I feel like you're completely right when you say she's secretive at some point. Because when I first got to know her, I was like, wow, she is very secretive. So I think you're right on with that. But yeah.
You know, it's like when I tell clients, when they're sitting in front of me, it's like, I want to draw a tree. The comment that I can normally get is, "Oh, I've been drawing a tree since I was a kid," or "I can't, I'm not an artist." You don't have to be, but the instructions are to draw a tree, or you can put anything in or around it, whatever you decide you want to do. But yeah.
She says, I can't think of anything that started and ended quickly.
Okay, but again, I stand by what I said, but I can't see the end of that branch. Okay.
Interesting.
So it's right. Do you know what this paper, the paper that she's drawn on, it's a flip chart. It's like it's like a very quick. It's not an A4 piece of paper. It's part of something. So that could be an indication where this person just can very quickly change her mind. She just turns the page very quickly. Okay. So if she's not happy with something, she'll just change it very quickly, and then get on with something else. So but I like that. I think that's a really positive element. I know she says she's light and dark, and I said that there's a dark element, there's a light element to it, but it works for her, and I don't think she does it horribly, not at all. I think it's just part of her charm that she is that way, and I think actually people probably see a lot of positive with it because I think she's a person that will tell you as it is, So she, looking at the tree, there's no messing with this lady, okay? If you annoy her, she'll tell you, and she won't pull any punches. She'll just tell you straight. So, but I think there's so much going on. I think there's changes. I think there's this new beginning. I don't know what the new beginning is about. It could be up and coming. It could be an emotional event that's already happened. I don't know. But yes, she's. Can you see? Going back to the support role, her support role. Can you see how she's kind of blended it or smudged the pencil mark? Okay, that's an indication where she's not sure of it. Okay, so it's like she's trying to rub something else. So she's trying to concrete in her mind or in her persona that actually she's doing the right thing. She is, she is that person, or I am that person to help or support. But she's trying to smear it out. So it could be an element where somebody's making her feel a bit guilty. So, or the situation is making her feel a bit guilty because she's trying to smear it out. So,
interesting.
So, yeah.
What do you think, Missy? I can say her name now. Jen, what do you think, Jen? Jody said maybe there's an ongoing branch in her life still to come.
Yeah, it's like past and future. We're not going to always tell you, where it is, what it is in the tree, but it's definitely something that come up. August is very key to this person. This August, there's going to be a change around August. There's also a granny spirit for this person as well. So, okay. So, but August is going to be quite key.
Interesting. So, very interesting. So what do you think, Jen? She says, I think most of it was spot on. Thank you.
Yeah.
She says, I appreciate your time.
Does she understand paperwork around her as well? That there's like paperwork, something she's having to deal with, paperwork. A bit messy. So I don't know why. I'm just.
What do you think, Jen? Paperwork, messy paperwork.
When I say messy, it's not like it's been scribbled all over. It's there's something about, I don't know if it's like you're dealing with paperwork, or it's out of hand, or you need to deal with it, or it's got a legal part to it. I don't know. It's just something that's resonating. It's just coming forward.
I could think of something. I don't know if Jen's thinking of the same thing I'm thinking of, but I could think of something.
So, I do all the taxes and
she says it's up to you.
Okay, it could be that you've got to make it fit. I can't make it fit, but there's definitely a grand from mum's side in spirit for some reason. No one been told that. So anyway, that's so yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, are we ready for the next tree?
Oh God, here we go.
Yes, that's what I was thinking, Jen.
So obviously you understand the information then.
I talk to Jen like every day.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how I was able to.
Right. For this one, I'm going to have to open it on a different screen because it's quite faint on YouTube. So just bear with me a second. I need to zoom in a little bit as well. So, okay, so she's written a name on it. That's fine.
Let me make sure she's. Oh God, what happened to my chat? It just went down. Oh, there we go. There's Zoe. My tree.
Okay. Okay, I like this tree. There's good and there's bad. I'll be honest. Right, so there's no roots with this tree as such. Okay. So what she's done, she's just drawn these two exaggerated lines, and there's lots of lines coming from it, which is like a vein network. Okay. So right, and you can see that the tree is leaning, so there's imbalance with her. Okay. So you can tell me if I'm right or wrong as we go along. Okay. So right, because there's no roots, it means she actually tries to be as grounded as possible. Okay. She can be quite, how do I say, difficult. Okay, so it's like stubborn is probably the best way of saying it. So she can be a bit stubborn in her mannerism, but that's just her trying to force her groundedness. She's trying to just make it aware, or make her aware that she's got this power, this energy. The left hand line is again the support role. Susie, don't shoot me on this one, okay? But right. Right. I like it. Okay. It shows strength, but it also shows frustration and weakness. Okay. So because of the way it's drawn, it's not drawn in one line. It's sketched. It's line over line. It's like almost like it's scribbled. So it means actually if you look at the top half of that line, there's more than the bottom. Don't worry about the slope, okay? The slopey bit on the left-hand side. I'm just talking about the upright. So when it's at the top, it's like, if you think of timelines, so like from bottom is 1, top is 19. I don't know how old this person is, okay? But it's a generalized view. So it means actually when you get a scribble like that, it means there's frustration sometimes to do with the support role that she gets or receives, okay? The upbringing. It also indicates that there's been some sort of difficulty with the upbringing at some point. Do you understand this? Does she understand this? Okay. But she carries this with her. This frustration carries with her for quite a lot, and it's something that boils up every now and again. And it might be that she just every now and again explodes a little bit, or offloads a bit of tantrum, or energy, or emotions, that sort of thing. Okay.
Oh, by the way, she's saying yes, that's true, and then she said yes again.
Okay, right. But do you know what? I like it. I think again, it shows her determination. It shows that she's just trying to show people that she has this strength, this energy. When we look at the other line on the right hand side, this is her support role as an adult, or however old she is. So, but this is quite bitty. Okay, so dare I say it? But right, it's good things. It's straight. The line is really straight, but it's bitty. So it indicates that actually she's not as supportive as she thinks she is. Okay, but also in turn, the support that she gets back can equally be as bitty. Okay, it's a bit of a, I don't know, it's a 50-50 solution or scenario where yes, she is trying to be supportive, but it could be arguments where actually you're not being supportive enough, or it could be that she's saying that to parents as well, or life. Okay, but it could be of the age that she's at. Okay, so because of her age, it makes it a bit more complicated. But what we do get then is this nerve system running through from top to bottom. Okay, did I read somewhere she took 2 hours to draw this?
You know what? Actually, she did, but so did Jen. So yeah.
Okay, right. So when we get the lines as they are, okay. How do I say it? Again, it can be the frustration. So she's finding life a bit frustrating to a point. Okay, it doesn't mean it totally, but it means that actually it's about the new energy, the fresh energy that she's trying to provide or give. So it's like, I don't know how old she is, okay, but it's like it's a new energy. She's trying to vitalize. She's trying to grow. She's trying to become that adult. She needs to try and let go of certain aspects. And what's happening is the tree starts to lean. Okay. So because of this, the tree starts to lean because she doesn't feel that she's able to support herself just yet enough. Okay. Or again, life is being a bit cruel, or life is out of balance. So she's trying to cope with lots of different things, the emotions, the I don't know what's going on around her, but the emotions around her, the raw emotions. Maybe she's got a bit of anger in her as well that needs to creep out every now and again. Just saying. But I like that aspect. And to know what's great about it is the width of the main body. She is a really strong character. Okay, I mean, she's been through an awful lot, or she is just a really strong character. There's no messing. She is just all credit. I think she's great. Okay, I've never met her. Obviously, I don't know her, but I think she's just got this great character, and I think that actually will help a lot of people to come. Okay, so it's like she will be helping a lot of people. I think she probably always does it in her own manner, although sometimes she could be seen as a little bit lazy. Dare I say that? But it's just part of her charm, I suppose. Okay, so then we've got the head of the tree, and oh boy, the head of the tree is huge. Okay, so it fills the page, it fills the top half of the page. So again, a very, very heavy thinker. Very much is all over the place with her thoughts, though. Okay, so she's not quite sure in her mind where she belongs, or what she wants to do, or how she's going to deal with life, that sort of thing. But it also shows that she's also been through, again, a lot of emotional stuff. So branches exposed means that actually she wears her heart on the sleeve. She's one that you can just, she's having a good day or a bad day. plain and simple. There's no messing with her. Okay. The fact that she's got all these blossoms, all these petals on the tree, indicates actually she's going through a massive change. Okay. It could be the case where, if you think of a tree in season, so this tree looks like it's going through spring, or it's going out of winter into spring. It's changing. So it's a changeable event around her, meaning it's going to be good. Okay. But there are lots of decisions to be made. Okay. She may have just started to think that she's made a decision about career or whatever it is, where she's going to live or whatever it is, but she hasn't finished. There's so much more that she needs to be getting on with, and there's travel with her as well. Okay, so it's indicating that she wants to travel or do something or be somewhere else. I don't know if that means that she travels a lot anyway, backwards and forwards doing what she does, or she actually wants to throw on a backpack and say sayonara and go off somewhere. Okay, I think it's that element around her. Okay, right. The fact that the tree fills the page also means that there's restriction. Okay, a huge restriction. Either she feels like she's being held back by people or someone or something. Or it could be herself, but there is restriction. It could be mental restriction because the mental part of it is full. Okay, so but I like it. Um, you look like you don't understand it. So you don't understand? Do you understand it? Yeah, you, Susie, do you understand it? You do. Okay, right. But you know, looking at her character, okay, let's look at her characteristics. I think she, how to say it? I'm trying to think of a nice way of saying it because it's only a nice way to say it. Okay, I think she's a really adorable person. Okay, I think she's very loving. I think it's on her grounds though. Okay, so it'll be on her grounds. But I think she, in the right environment, she is really loving. I think she tries to be caring, but I think it come across as wrong sometimes. And I think she fears stepping on people's toes. I think that's her issue. I think she just needs to do what she wants to do and do it in her manner. I don't think she likes being caged. I think she's very much this free spirit where she just wants to go and do what she wants. But again, I think there's either a situation or her mind is restricting her. I think she's fearful of what if I do it and it turns wrong. There is hurt with her as well. I think she's been hurt by someone or something. I think hurt by someone. I don't know if that's to do with family or relation, but I think it's quite meaningful to her, and I think it's also put that fear factor in her as well. The fact that she's put a name on it, okay, it means that she's trying to kind of like rub a stamp or impress that this is me. You know, I don't want to be changed. I want to be this person. You know, if she's going to be, it could be the way that she dresses. You know, it may not be the norm. It's she could be an Elmo type character when she's a heavy metal character. It could be a mix. I don't know. Just as an example, okay. But I think, if you actually stood back and looked at her and saw her inside rather than the outside, I think she's really lovely. She's got a great mind, and I think this mind is going to explode. And I think she's got some knowledge of things that people are just going to go, "What the hell?" Okay. Where did you get that from? And I think she's going to stun a few people. But when I look at the lower part, right hand side of the page, the lowest branch on there, you can see that the branch isn't full. It's got the flowers on it and the leaves, but there's also a little bit that sticks out. So that means, again, there's change. She's not complete. She's not complete in herself. The fact that she's got the leaves on there means that she's trying to cover up something she doesn't need to. She's trying to cover up the emotions. She's trying to cover up her personality. And really, realistically, I don't think she needs to. She just needs to be who she wants to be. So I think, do you know, looking at that, I think she's going to go on a journey, and I think she's going to come back a different person. She's going to go and find herself. Okay. And I think that's what she needs. I don't know how old she is. So
what do you think, Zoe? What do you think about all that?
I don't know if that's understood or not.
Do you want it? Do you want to know how old she is?
Yeah, go on, go for it.
She's 11.
11.
11 and a half.
Right. Okay. Oh, boys, Susie, you're in trouble. Do you know? There's a little. Do you know? We have to take notice of the condition of the paper as well, and you can see where it's dog-eared in one corner, bottom left, right-hand corner. You see, it's like folded over. Okay, that's also restriction because it means that she can't get around that curve. Okay, and it's almost like she's hiding something. It's like
She said, how in the world does he know all of this?
Well.
Wow, just that little curve of paper demonstrates that. How interesting.
Yeah, do you know? I've had people screw up the paper and try to bin it, and I'm like, oh no, you that's how you see yourself. You know, you're seeing yourself as a screwed up piece of paper. You know, you don't throw your life away. You know, it's all important. So, yeah, I used to sit when I had a job, when I had a normal job. I used to sit in the office and watch the girls on the telephones, listen to customers or talking to customers, and I could tell them from the very beginning of their doodles when they started to scribble on paper what the conversation was about. So, which then obviously I use for this. So it's great. I love it.
Well, I love it too. You know what's really interesting is that you see her you described them as like veins.
Yeah.
If you remember, you probably don't because it was so long ago, but when you did my tree reading, I had similar quote unquote roots, but I had little squigglies like that too. So I thought that was really interesting, but I didn't have the solid lines around it. I just had the squigglies.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I think the fact, I mean, okay, now we know her age. I think the fact that it leans a little bit, I understand. You know, her life is going to be out of balance. She's all over the place. She's starting to tread into the teenage years. You know, the fundamental years of our being an adult. But I think with the past, looking at the upbringing line, I can see why there's something going on back there.
well,
I'm not going to go.
well, she's mind blown. So I'm mind blown. I love these tree readings as well. I love the imbalance of the tree and how you put that together too. Like it's just all amazing. But yeah, main thing is that Zoe's mind blown. I know how excited she was to hear your reading. But yeah, you were, as a mom, because she's my daughter, you were very spot on with like pretty much the whole thing. So.
Oh yeah, and I know Zoe, and she is a remarkable kid. She does have this aura about her, and she's going to be big. And I think the changes that she's going through and the changes that you mentioned is she's actually starting to make that change from a child into more of an adult person, and the maturity is getting there and stuff. And yeah. I love Zoe to death. She is just one of my absolute favorite people, and Leia and stuff. So yeah, you had her spot on.
She said, I got exposed, but thank you.
Yeah, I mean, just for your listeners, I don't know Zoe. I don't know anything about her at all. So, but yeah, it'd be great to see her face to face at some point. So
well,
yeah.
She, one thing you did say about her, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it reminded me of how, oh God, what is it that you said? I don't know, but this child, ever since that she was born, when she was like 1 day old, there was something about her, you could just sense that she was like an old soul.
Yeah.
You know, and she's continued, she's been like that her whole life. You know?
I wouldn't be surprised if she writes a book that will baffle some brilliant minds. So there you go.
Well, there you go, Zoe.
Hey,
So
Zoe, and when you write that book, I'd like an autographed copy.
And when you write it, I would like 50% of the earnings, please. Thank you very much.
Zoe says, I love you too, Bri. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed your tree readings. I just find them absolutely fascinating. We have 10 minutes left.
Okay.
Do we want to play one more EVP?
We can,
Bri?
yeah, we can do all of them. They're not that long.
Yeah,
Oh,
we can
okay.
do them.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do them because there's one that I like, one that I kind of favor. So let's do them. Let's do the EVPs.
Okay. Here's the first one.
Mom? You okay? Just wanted to.
I gotta turn my audio up so I can hear it.
Oh, just lonesome. Yeah.
Mom? You okay? Just
Yeah.
wanted to.
So I'm trying to remember where that place was.
You okay?
Just
wanted
yeah.
I think we're gonna play it. I think we're gonna play it a few times, aren't we, right?
Just
Or just once?
Mom? You okay? Just wanted Mom? You okay? Just wanted Mom? You okay? Just wanted
Is it playing?
You okay?
I believe so.
Just wanted Mom? You okay? Just wanted Mom? You okay? Just wanted Mom?
So if I
You
remember
okay?
rightly, with this EVP, it was two ladies doing a bit of a sit down together,
You okay?
and the mother went a bit funny. And
Mom?
is it playing?
You okay? Just wanted
Oh,
Mom?
no, what have I done?
You okay?
Hang on one
Just
second.
wanted
I think I've lost the chat.
Mom?
Refresh.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm doing that now.
Just wanted Mom?
So,
okay?
but yeah, it's just the band's voice that said, I'm lonesome. So, which
okay?
is just mad. I think that
Mom?
one and the following ones are all from the same
okay?
location. So we had a pretty busy night. But yeah,
Mom?
it's a location over here
You okay?
called Morecambe Winter Gardens. So it's an old theatre.
Mom?
But
You okay?
I think the other ones are. I mean, I wanted to show that one because it's an actual voice. You can hear it. So it's there. So from what I remember of that is that there was
You okay?
either there was a group of us or there was these two ladies. They had the EVP recorder, and her mum went a bit funny because they were talking to her or she was talking to her, and they noticed that she was going either a bit quiet, didn't look like she was being very well, and then when the question was asked, this man's voice came forward with this, I'm just lonesome. So it's just mad for me. It's just great. I love it. For me, EVPs say more than picture.
You okay?
Oh, me too. I definitely agree with you when it comes to. I love EVPs. Were you guys all able to hear that EVP? Would you guys like us to play it again?
Oh, it's still playing.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
You okay?
Well, let me know when it's done playing.
You okay?
Just put your finger up.
Mom? You okay? Just wanted Mom?
Okay.
You okay? Just wanted Mom? You okay?
All right. So yeah, did you guys hear that? What do you think?
Mom?
Is there anybody
You
who
okay?
doesn't hear I'm lonesome? Jen's like it's been looping a while. Jen, I can't hear anything because I've got my YouTube muted, so that way I don't hear the stereo effect. Jen asks, so there was no man present?
No.
Well,
No man present at all. So.
Well, that's my favorite one. I love that one.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one?
Yeah.
The next one is the one I like.
Okay, so is this the really long one or the shorter one? Because I know there's one that's super long.
I don't know.
There's one that's like a minute long. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna play it 3 times, right, Bri?
I'm gonna just loop it.
Oh, you're gonna loop it. Okay.
Is it playing?
I can't hear it.
I hear it.
I can hear it now. Yeah, get out.
Tina hears it.
So this one was they got a specialist bit of equipment called the SR3Ds. They mimic the human ears. And they were placed on the lower floor of the auditorium in Morecambe Winter Gardens. And we just finished doing an exercise or an experiment in one part of the theatre. So we were actually walking past this. We're just talking amongst ourselves. And it's not until we played back the audio that we heard this voice telling us to get out. So it kind of corresponds with other information that we had received as well about a caretaker that roams the corridors within the theatre. So he's obviously telling us to get out. You know, it's like, it's finished, get out. The performance is finished, get out. So that's what it was. It was absolutely amazing to hear that.
I heard it. Is that what you heard, Bri?
Yeah.
Anybody else? What'd you hear? While you guys are typing in, I'm also adding in Nick's links again. Jody says, wow.
And are we ready for the next one?
Yep, let's play the next one.
Okay.
Did you come here a lot to see performances? Do you still return here to watch modern day performances? Are you happy? Did you come here a lot to see performances? Do you still return here to watch modern day performances?
Okay.
Yeah. So right. So this is back again in Morecambe Winter Gardens. It's a public event, and we're up in what we call the gods. So we're in the very, very top of the theatre, and we're looking down at the auditorium at the stage. And that's the voice you hear is me asking, do you still come here to do performances? I'm just throwing questions out to see if we get any response. And then this music starts to play, and the singing starts to happen, and we all look at each other. We don't actually do anything at first. We just look at each other, going, "What is that? What is that music?" And we're looking at the stage, and there's nobody else in the building but us and the public, who are all with us, and we're all along the gods. We're looking down, all of us looking down, and there's this music playing, and we're like, "Where the hell is that coming from?" And it's so clear, really, really clear. That was also captured on the SR3D system that I've got. So it's like that's why it's so clear. And if you think we're picking it up at the top, it's just mental. It's just awesome.
Oh my God, for like the 25th time, you've given me chills. Like that just gave me chills. I was like, look at my chills. That's crazy. What do you think, Brian?
Oh yeah, these EVPs were outstanding. I am trying to save up to get over to England to do some paranormal stuff over there. Plus also some genealogy stuff. And I would love to meet Nick and go with him on investigation.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
Did you have the other EVP of the old telephone ring?
No, remember, we couldn't get that one.
That's the one I couldn't get to work.
Really? Oh, damn. Okay, maybe because it's on a different, the program file.
Yeah, I tried to convert it, and I wasn't even able to convert it, so.
It's just, we were just doing an experiment. We were doing a human pendulum. We had the night vision camera, the operator walking around, and just when I played it back at home, you can tell actually we don't respond to this noise, but it's an old telephone. In the area that we were standing on was what was called the women's bar, the ladies' bar, and this old telephone just starts to ring, and there's no bar there, there's no telephone system there, but it just starts to ring. But obviously when we spoke to the creator of the place, and we said, "Do you understand anything about telephones?" He said, "Oh yeah, each bar had their own telephone because they had to phone through and stuff like that." And we played it back to him, and he was like, "That's how it sounded. It sounds like that old telephone." So it's just like, wow, it's a place that gives all the time. It's just great. Wow. Really good. So.
Well, thank you so much for all that amazing footage. I mean, from the video to the audio, it's all been amazing. And of course, the trees. I think that this has just been such an amazing, amazing show. And like I said, you've given me chills for 2 hours. So.
Well, it's been great to come on. It's been, I think, too long as well. But the offer is there if you'd like to come back on at some point to do some trance mediumship, so your listeners and viewers can watch as well. Then I'm very happy to do that. So.
Yes, let's figure out how to do that, Brian. I would love to do that, and I know Brian would too. So let Brian and I discuss how we would do that, and then we'll get you back on. I know our listeners would love that as well. So, really quick,
I'll throw something out there right now. Maybe we can have like a little contest with our chatters, our listeners, our followers, and the winner of the contest gets a reading.
Well, that would be a fun idea too. Yeah. Oh, good stuff. Good things to discuss. Before we do our announcements really quick, which will only take a few minutes, so don't leave. I want Nick to really quick talk about his show. Yeah, he does.
I do a very a Facebook Live. It's going to be moving over to YouTube, but a Facebook Live session nearly every Friday at 9 p.m. UK time. So till 11 o'clock UK time. It's a mix. It's a fun-packed I have a game on it called What's in the Box. So you kind of have to tune in to guess what's in the box. You know, I do a bit of cards, do a bit of mediumship. I do tree readings. I have guests come on, talk about what they do, and they also in turn then demonstrate what they do for, you know, as in their career, like mediumship or healing. They kind of demonstrate it on that. So yeah, it's fun to have. It's fun. It's a good show. I like it.
Yeah, so definitely, you know, like him on Facebook so that way you can watch the lives. Now you're saying you're moving to YouTube, so you're gonna do YouTube live like we do.
Yeah, because Facebook don't like me.
Well, if you have any questions about YouTube live, just let Brian and I know. Well,
Yep.
Absolutely.
And for those that live in the U.S., real quick, 9 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time would be 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. So whichever time zone you're in, I'll give you a little reference point.
thank you for that, Brian. So yeah, guys, check him out. He's got amazing shows. So really quick, we're gonna do our announcements. Our next show is 7/5, but Brian's lagging. Because we don't have a show planned for 7/5.
And for those that are in Australia, it would be 7 a.m.
Oh,
on
gosh.
the next day, and that's Australian Eastern Standard Time.
Gotta have that because we got our Aussies. Love our Aussies. So yeah, so our next show, 7/5. Brian, what are we gonna do? We don't know.
I think it's going to be a mystery show.
Okay. Yeah, guys, because you know sometimes we do haunted locations, and 7/5 is Brian's turn to pick a haunted location. So it'll be a mystery show. We'll start planning it now, and yeah, you'll see the promo video, right, Brian? We'll have a promo video.
Okay. Yeah, well, promo video.
Okay. So yeah, definitely we'll have a great show on a haunted location. And then 2 weeks after that, we'll be back to having guests on. I just want to remind you guys to join Haunting the Afterlife radio group page. I'm going to go ahead and put that link in our chat really quickly. Please come on because I always go live on that page to let you guys know about the show and a little bit about the guests. And it's also a way to keep updated on the shows and things like that. And we love you being a part of the page. I would like to give a shout to Jody, who's in our chat right now because she won the birthday challenge. I went live today to talk about the show, and then it being that it's my birthday, I did a birthday challenge, and she won. So congrats, Jody. She's become our honorary member for a week, which means she can post whatever she wants. Well, not whatever she wants. It has to be paranormal related, but whatever she wants for the next 7 days. So we do little things like that and just have a lot of fun. So come join us there. And then also, please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And team announcements. Brian, do you have anything that you want to say about team announcements?
I don't have anything, not at this time.
Okay, I do. The Mr. Gang will be going out on an investigation tomorrow night. It will be a live investigation, so join us live. Not really sure exactly what time we're going to start. I know that some of the investigators will be heading out during the day, probably early evening, late afternoon, to go live and show you guys the location during the day. And then we'll also be showing you the investigation that takes place at night live. Please be our eyes and ears. Help us see and hear things that we don't necessarily pick up on. Also known as, remote viewing. This is a local location, but it is undisclosed. It is an abandoned house that was built in 1913. It is not in very good condition. We don't know a whole lot of history on it. I think that's a good thing. I'm ready to go in kind of blind. So yeah, come join us. Are you going to join us, Bri?
I'm going to try to.
I know it'll be kind of, well, I think Lisa's planning on going live a little earlier in the day, so maybe you'll be able to make that one. But that's really all I have for you guys. Oh, let me go ahead and put our Mystery Gang link really quick into chat. Thank you, Jody. And that's a wrap. Is there anything else, Brian, Nick?
No, just thank you for letting me come on the show. It's great. Thank you.
And I want to thank Nick for coming on the show and doing his remarkable stuff. And a happy birthday again, Susie.
Thank you, Brian. And yes, I want to thank you as well, Nick. It's always a pleasure to have you on. We love you very much. And we also love our listeners and our chatters. And I love you too, Bri. Thanks, everybody, for coming. And we look forward to seeing you next show. Again, that's going to be 7/5, so July 5th. And other than that, I'm going to go to the movies and watch Chucky with my daughter for my birthday. So she's taking me to the movies. My 11-year-old's taking me to the movies. So, but yeah, I want to wish you all love and light and peace.